So, what if your thoughts were no longer private? And I'm not talking about your search history or the DMs you sent. I mean the raw, unfiltered electrical signals bouncing around inside your brain. It really sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But with how fast brain-computer interfaces are developing, this is the new reality we are walking right into. Today, we're going to take a look at the front line in the fight for our own minds, the race to build a new architecture for mental sovereignty, one that can literally encrypt our consciousness. Just think about the scenario this slide paints for a second. Could your consciousness actually become a product? Your innermost thoughts auctioned off? It sounds like a dystopian nightmare, but this quote isn't just for show. As technology starts to merge with our minds, this is the very real, super high-stakes problem we're all facing. The last frontier of privacy is you, your own mind, and that frontier is about to be breached. All right, to really understand the threat, we first have to appreciate the incredible promise of the technology itself. Brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs. And this field is, well, it's absolutely revolutionary. This isn't some far-off future idea either. The first generation of consumer-grade neural implants and advanced EEG headsets, they're projected to hit the mainstream as early as 2026. This stuff is going to change everything about how we interact with the world and with each other. I mean, for decades, BCIs have been this beacon of hope in medicine. Imagine giving a voice back to someone with locked-in syndrome, letting them communicate just by thinking. That's already happening. But now, that very same tech is exploding out of the clinic and into our everyday lives. We're talking about video games that adapt the story in real time based on your actual fear or excitement, wellness apps that guide your meditation by reading your focus levels. It's a world where tech doesn't just respond to our clicks and taps, but to our internal state, our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions. And you knew there was a but. With all that incredible potential comes a profound, totally new kind of risk. A risk that is literally baked into the design of almost every BCI system in development right now. The very thing that makes these devices work so well also creates this new vulnerability. One that exposes our minds in a way they have never been exposed before. We call it the mind leak. So how does this leak even happen? Well, the process is alarmingly simple. First, the BCI hardware on your head reads your raw neural signals. Just think of this as your brain's electrical activity, completely raw and unfiltered. Second, that data gets bundled up into what they call cognitive telemetry. It's basically a live feed of your brain's inner workings. And that live feed gets streamed, often without strong encryption, directly to a centralized corporate cloud server. And finally, their algorithms get to work analyzing it. The most important thing to get here is that your raw thoughts, your internal monologue, leaves your control and becomes a corporate asset. This is how. And this brings us to what might be the single most important philosophical and legal question of the 21st century. I mean, really think about this. If your raw brain signals are being collected, stored, and analyzed on some company's server, who actually owns them? Do you? Or does the company whose terms of service you scrolled past and clicked agree on? Who has the right to access, interpret, and ultimately to profit from the very patterns of your consciousness? Right now, the answer is disturbingly unclear. Let's be crystal clear about what this means. This isn't just another data privacy issue, like a company tracking your browsing history. We are entering the age of thought scraping, a whole new frontier of data mining where the product isn't just your behavior, it's the very essence of you. It's your mind. So what is thought scraping? Well, it's the process of sifting through all that raw cognitive data to figure out what makes you tick on the deepest level imaginable. We're talking about profiling your subconscious desires, your political leanings before you even say them out loud, your hidden anxieties, your religious beliefs, even detecting the early onset of diseases like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's before you have any symptoms. It's the ultimate invasion of privacy because it targets information you might not even consciously know about yourself. And listen, this isn't just some wild theory. Researchers were sounding the alarm on this exact problem way back in 2016. That's an eternity in tech years. This quote is so chilling because it confirms the vulnerability isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's baked into the system by design. The apps are built to have this open, unrestricted pipeline directly to your brain. And because it's all happening silently in the background, we're often totally unaware of what's being taken. So what does this actually look like in the real world? It looks like an ad on your screen that subtly changes its message because an algorithm detected a spike in your frustration or a flicker of desire from your brainwaves. It looks like being denied a job because a neural profile flagged you as having a wandering mind. It creates a new, invisible class system of the enhanced versus the non-implanted. This is the fast track to a more intimate, more powerful form of surveillance and control than anything we have ever seen before. We are at such a critical moment. The decisions we make right now about this technology will define the future of human freedom. If you believe cognitive liberty is a fundamental right that's worth protecting, help us get this information out there. Liking this explainer and subscribing for more deep dives really helps this conversation reach more people. Spreading awareness is the absolute first step toward building the future we actually want to live in. Now, a fair question to ask is, hey, don't we have laws for this? What about huge data privacy regulations like GDPR in Europe or HIPAA for health data in the US? And the problem is, our entire legal framework was designed for a totally different era of tech. It was built to protect data about you, not the data that is you. And these old laws are dangerously, maybe even catastrophically, unprepared for this new wave. To see the legal gap, you need to know this broader term, cognitive biometrics. This isn't just about direct brain readings from an EEG headset. This includes data from devices you might already own, like your smartwatch, your fitness tracker, or your VR headset. Things like your heart rate, how your pupils dilate, your eye movements. When you feed all that into a smart AI, it can make surprisingly accurate guesses about your mental and emotional state. And this table here just lays it all out perfectly. Major laws like GDPR and CCPA, they're focused on protecting biometrics used to identify you, like your fingerprint or your face. They have almost nothing to say about data that simply infers your thoughts without ever needing your name. And then you have HIPAA, which is great, but it only protects health info in a clinical setting from your doctor or hospital. That new meditation headband or gaming headset you bought, that's a consumer wellness device. It falls right through those legal cracks, leaving your data completely exposed. But there is a glimmer of hope. Lawmakers are finally starting to wake up to this threat. In a truly landmark move, the state of Colorado has passed the first real attempt in the world to build a legal shield specifically for our minds. It's a sign that the fight for cognitive liberty has officially begun. Okay, so Colorado's new law is a potential game changer for a few key reasons. First, it explicitly defines neural data in the law, which is a huge first step. Second, it classifies that data as sensitive, putting it on the same level as your genetic info. Third, and this is crucial, it requires explicit opt-in consent. That means companies can't just bury permission in a 50-page terms of service agreement you just scroll past. They have to ask you directly, in plain language, before they can touch your neural data. And finally, it closes that big HIPAA loophole by applying to consumer neural devices, which is exactly where the biggest risks are popping up. Now, while laws like Colorado's are a vital defensive line, they're only one part of the solution. History has shown us time and again that policy usually lags way behind technology. To truly fix the mind leak, we need to do more than just regulate. We need to re-engineer the technology itself from the ground up. We need a new architecture built on privacy by design. And the foundation of that architecture is a powerful cryptographic tool called a zero-knowledge proof. This slide shows the huge shift in thinking. On the left, you've got the old, broken system, where your raw thoughts are just streamed out into the open, sent to some central server that you are just forced to trust. On the right, you have the new paradigm. Instead of streaming your raw data, your own device sends a secure cryptographic proof. Instead of corporate servers holding your secrets, security is handled right on your local hardware. The control, the power, it shifts entirely from the company back to you. So what exactly is this magical-sounding thing called a zero-knowledge proof? Honestly, it's one of the most elegant ideas in all of modern cryptography. A ZKP lets you prove a fact is true without revealing any of the underlying information that proves it. The classic analogy is perfect. Imagine an app needs to check if you're over 21. The old way, you show your driver's license, which reveals your name, address, exact birthday, a ton of sensitive data. The ZKP way, your device provides a mathematically verifiable yes to the question, is this person over 21? The app gets the proof it needs, but learns absolutely nothing else about you. You prove the fact without revealing the data. Now, the specific tech that makes this actually practical for our BCI problem is a type of ZKP called a ZK snark. And you absolutely do not need to remember that name. What you do need to know is that it's incredibly efficient. The S in snark stands for succinct, which means the proofs it generates are mathematically complex but physically tiny, and they're super fast for a computer to check. This efficiency is the key breakthrough that takes zero-knowledge proofs from being a cool academic idea into a powerful privacy shield that we can run right on our everyday devices, like a phone or a headset. This is a complex topic for sure, but it is absolutely vital for our shared digital future. Is a tech solution like ZKPs the right way to go, or are new laws enough? We really want to know what you think.
Let us know down in the comments. And if you're finding this explainer valuable, please share it with others. Awareness is always the first step toward real action.
Okay, so let's bring it all home and look at the complete picture. We've talked about the problem, the mind leak. We've talked about legal shields and these really cool cryptographic tools. But how do all these pieces, on-device processing, zero-knowledge proofs, and decentralized ledgers, combine to create a truly comprehensive, robust shield for our minds? This new architecture for neural privacy stands on three main pillars. First, and most importantly, on-device processing. All the heavy lifting, all the analysis of your raw brainwaves, it happens locally on your device. Your raw neural data is hashed, encrypted, and it never leaves your hardware. Pillar 2 is the zero-knowledge proofs we've been talking about. When an app needs to know something, say a game needs to know if you're feeling calm, your device generates a ZKP that cryptographically proves your mental state is calm without sending any of the brainwave data that led to that conclusion. And finally, Pillar 3. That proof is anchored to a decentralized ledger, like a blockchain. Why does that matter? It means the game developer can verify your calm state without having to connect to a centralized corporate server. There's no single database to hack, no single company to abuse its power. It creates a trustless system where your privacy is mathematically guaranteed, not just promised in a policy document you'll never read. And that brings us to the final critical question. For decades, we have all just mindlessly clicked I agree on terms of service agreements, trading our personal data for convenience without a second thought. But when the service isn't tracking your clicks, but is instead accessing your mind, the stakes change completely. This is no longer about privacy, it's about autonomy. The technology is here and it's speeding up. The question we all need to answer, together, is who gets to set the rules for this new world? Will it be us, the users? Or will we just passively click agree one last time and let corporations write the terms of service for our own consciousness?